Hi, hello, welcome back to the Deanne's POV podcast. My name is Deanne, and I'm so glad to have you guys here with me as always. So let's get into the episode. So for today's episode, I just wanted to do kind of like a catch up with you all. So much has happened these past few months, and I just wanted to share a bit of my life with you guys. So yeah, first things first, I wanted to talk a little bit about this business that me and my sister started. Like, I know I mentioned it before in the last episode, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've been getting a lot of updates on it. But yeah, I feel like it was just so out of the blue for both of us, and it was just like something, it was really spontaneous, I would say. And I'm like so glad that I was on board with this, and I also had my sister with me just because I was getting a little overwhelmed because this was not something that I thought I would be doing. And I think me and her both have been having a lot of fun with it. I feel like it's nice to have like a business with your sister. Like, I know a lot of people say never do business with family, but I feel like it's been good. Like, me and her are always on the same page. And we're just like, we know that it's a team effort, and we're both like just putting our all into it. Who would have thought, like, Rian being a entrepreneur in 2024? Like, definitely not me. But yeah, like, it's a little overwhelming. And I'm honestly one to get overwhelmed by like the smallest things. Like, if it's new, it's extremely overwhelming for me. And I feel like the challenges that we had these past couple months, like, I feel like we solve one thing and another problem comes up, and we're like just putting our all into it. And yeah, it's been a lot of work, like a lot of work. And I'm glad that I'm doing it. I feel like it's something completely out of my comfort zone. Like, I never thought that I would do it, and now I'm out here giving it a try. You know what I mean? And I know it's like me and her are like, this is a forever thing, and I was like, yes, it's a forever thing. But yeah, I also kind of feel like I've been stepping completely out of my comfort zone because there's so many roles that I've been stepping into, like photography and stuff like that. And then it's just like, who, like, I never thought that I would like these. Like, I've tried photography as a hobby ages ago. I liked it then, but like, you know, who really remembers what they were doing in like middle and high, you know what I mean? But yeah, it definitely pushed me so far out of my comfort zone. Um, Especially for like a shy kid, you know what I mean? I was always a shy kid. I always kept my thoughts to myself. I never really liked to put myself out there. I would say I'm an introvert in that way. Like, I like to be alone. I like to just be with my thoughts. I don't really like to share, which is so crazy because I started a podcast. And it's just like, everything is just so weird to me right now. Like, it's like I'm getting more comfortable doing it. Like, I like doing this podcast. I like taking pictures, being like, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm like a photographer. I don't even think that I'm anywhere near that title, but it's like, it's fun being behind the camera. Um, and I feel like one thing I've been getting like more comfortable with is being in the spotlight and being in front of the camera, because it's something that I haven't really done, or I avoided doing for so long. And it's like, it's weird just like being the center of attention. Like, I know a lot of people are so good on like taking on that role. Like, my sister, I admire her for this, but she can handle the spotlight. She's really good with it. She's really good with people, and I admire her so much for that. But me personally, I like to be like in the background. I like to like do all the like the nitty gritty like um stuff that people don't really see. And just like having to be in the spotlight is something that I'm like working on, and it's extremely uncomfortable. Even like hearing like whenever I edit these podcasts or whatever, or I hear my own voice on tape, I kind of do like I cringe just a little bit. I'm just like, it's a little uncomfortable. But just like getting used to my own voice on tape, seeing my own photos and stuff like that, even on my own personal Instagram, I'm starting to be more comfortable posting. Like if you really check, a lot of like my posts and stuff were this year, and it's something that I've been wanting to do for so long, is to put myself out there, because I do like social media. Like I think photos are fun, even though when I was younger I didn't. And just like capturing the moment and being myself. So yeah, it's just like it's uncomfortable at first, but just like being comfortable with the uncomfortable, it's like, okay, you're gonna get better at this eventually, so just keep at it and you'll pick it up. And I feel like that's also the same thing with business, because like I'm a person that likes to know what happens at the end. Like I like to know the end story. Like I've always been like that, and I guess it's like hard to kind of get out of that mindset, because you will never really know what happens until it happens. Um, and I feel like this is a lesson that I learned within these past couple of years. Mainly because I would like try something, it's like, yeah, it's definitely gonna work, and it just never works out the way I expected. I would honestly say I learned that when I used to do lab work, because like before I did lab work and like actually went hands on like the bench or whatever, I would be like, well, there has to be an answer. Like, it's A, B, or C. Like, there has to be something that happens. Or like I like to predict what happens, and it's like, okay, like it's like the chances are high that this is gonna happen. And when I started doing like lab work, because like a lot of my classes and stuff in college didn't have that, um, I started to like learn that things never end up the way you expect it, and you just have to be okay with that. But you just have to keep trying. Like that was like one of the biggest lessons I learned, and it was just like, damn, like I really don't know what's gonna happen at the end. I don't know what's gonna happen in 2-3 years. So the best I can do is make today like it's my last day, and like give it my all, if that makes sense. And on top of that, my sister actually bought me a camera, which I am so excited to use. Um, and the whole reason I was like even itching to get a camera was the fact that I really don't have any photos for like the past 3-ish years. Like I don't have much memories that I've captured. So I was like, okay, like I need to maybe take more photos. And I'm not saying it's necessary to take a lot of photos in order to have memories, but it's like I like the idea of capturing moments, and just like having it be documented. You know what I mean? And I guess like the title of this podcast, the Rian's POV thing, actually came from a private Pinterest board that I have, because I became like obsessed with Pinterest over the summer, and I was like, I just want to like show life through my eyes. And I guess I kind of just translated that over to this podcast, and just like being able to just share my life with everybody. And I guess I've also been into writing lately. Um, and just like, because me and my sister, we talk a lot about like spirituality, science, all that stuff. And I've always like wrote about it in my journals and stuff like that. So I just like decided once to download Medium, and I started writing on there. And yesterday I got my first ever follower on there, so I was so geeked. And it's just like fun sharing writing, just because writing itself is a form of creativity, a form of art, and stuff like that. So it's been a blast doing that. And I feel like lately I've been kind of embracing different passions, because when I was younger, I had an idea, like I chose a path. Like I was like pre-med, I'm going to be a doctor. This is like I had an idea of what my life would look like, and I kind of hyperfixate on things like that. It's like I will be tunnel vision, like I got to do this that in order to get to where I want to be. And it's not that I don't have goals. Like I like to set goals for myself, but then it's also like, yeah, you'll get to the goal, but don't try to like block the rest of the world out. Don't just do tunnel vision. Like smell the roses on the way. um and I feel like that's what I'm doing now. It's like I'm just like doing things that make me happy. And like that, like I've had to like learn that life is not stagnant. There's like so many different seasons or like small little chapters in life that make your story. And I feel like I was just like limiting myself, because I was like, well, this is not something that I could enjoy because that's not the life that I chose. You know what I mean? And it's like, but what if I will have a good time doing this? Like, why can't I do both? If that makes sense. So I just like, honestly, I treat every day like a new chapter. It's like, what I want to do this, that today, and that's what I'm gonna do. If something comes up, I'm just gonna go with the flow, and I will eventually get to my goals. You know what I mean? And like this year in particular is technically my gap year. Um, I've applied to schools. I'm waiting to hear back, and it's just like, instead of like always thinking about the results at the end, why can't I just like focus on other things? So that is what I'm doing. I tend to like limit myself very like frequently, because it's like I do tunnel vision a lot, and it was kind of hard to get out of that. It's like we have different seasons, and I just need to allow myself to grow in a new direction. And there's just so much more to life than I originally thought, I guess. So if I like, honestly, I just take everything as a sign. It's like, well, it's a sign that I should do this. And it's like, I don't even give myself the time to overthink it, because I'm an overthinker. Like, I will start thinking of a million ways that it can go. And it's like, what if this happens? What if that happens? And it's like, it will prevent me from doing anything at all. I feel like it kind of like debilitates you in a way, when you're just like constantly thinking of everything that can go wrong. It's like, even if it doesn't go the way you anticipated, it still happened. You know what I mean? Like, you did what you wanted to do, and now you finally can like get rid of that nagging in the back of your head. It's like, well, I gave it a try. Either it works out or it doesn't work out. It's not a big deal. I feel like I always say this. I'm like, life is serious, but it's never that serious. It's so serious that it's unserious, if that makes sense. Um, Another thing is, I kind of feel like having a set routine for every single day would make you feel bored. And I'm not talking about like brushing your teeth in the morning, getting your coffee, whatever, but just like having that tunnel vision and just like being focused on what's at the end, and just like not having things outside of like work or school to keep you busy, not having multiple passions, because I feel like as humans, period, we have multiple passions. We were never meant to do the same thing over and over and over again. And I feel like when you get into that mindset, it's like, okay, like choose one path. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. Like, you don't even need to like technically think of it like that, but when you start implementing it, it's like it becomes second nature. And I feel like eventually we would become miserable when we have the exact same routine every single day, and that's what like leads to burnout and stuff like that. So it's like it's important to put yourself first. It's important to try something new and to just like chase, I would say, like creativity, um and just like excitement. You have to like shake it up in your own life, you know what I mean? And just like building that relationship with yourself, and that just is going to take time, to be honest, like just building that relationship with yourself. And it's something that I prioritize, just because when I get to know myself and I'm happy being alone, being by myself, and I don't need to like look for happiness elsewhere, then it's like I can do anything, you know what I mean? It's like you're setting boundaries for everything in your life, and it's like you know what your values, your beliefs, your purpose, everything is, and you're gonna build that alignment with who you want to be. And honestly, to do that, I kind of like reflect on my past. Like I do it pretty frequently. I like to journal and just like sit with myself and see how my life has been, and also see how my day was like in the present, and also like plan for the future, but not plan to the point where it's like you're gonna do A, B, and C, and that's how you're gonna get D, you know what I mean? But just like giving yourself the time to see where you want to go, because I feel like change is not like a recommendation, it's actually required. I feel like everything in life changes over time, and the more we try to fight it, the more harder it gets to accept the fact that change is important. Change is what makes life worth living. And I kind of like do this thing. And when I told my sister, she kind of validated me, because apparently she does the exact same thing. And it's writing letters to myself. I like write letters to my past and my future and everything in between. Like I just feel like, Rion, you won't believe what happened. You know what I mean? And it's just like being able to write to myself allows me to kind of see everything from like a third perspective. Anywho, I hope that today's episode kind of gave you guys an insight of what I've been up to and how life has been lately. And I just hope this like pushes you guys to reflect on your own journey, and nonetheless want to explore more, to grow more, and to take care of yourself and put yourself first, because life honestly flows in seasons, and if you give it a chance, then it will teach you something unique. And honestly, just like treat every single day like it's your last day on earth. Make it worthwhile, treat it like a new adventure, and just like try something new, experiment, live life, because honestly tomorrow isn't promised. Okay, so as I mentioned last week, I've been recently really getting into poetry. So before I end this episode, I just wanted to give you guys a random poem from Inward by Young Pubello. I honestly can't pronounce his name still. It's crazy. Anywho, today's poem is: letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means we stop carrying the energy of the past into the present. Okay, so that is a wrap for today's episode. I'm just going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for joining me in today's episode and for being a part of my journey. I do truly appreciate it. And as always, if you like this episode, don't forget to leave a comment and review. And if you guys ever want to connect, I am on Instagram at YansPOV. And I hope you guys all have an amazing day. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.